Okay, so before I continue with view components, just wanted to remind you of assignment 2. The delivery date is in 2 weeks, Saturday in 2 weeks. So again, so you have 2 weeks for that. I want to talk a little bit about midterm. Midterm, we're going to be having that in 2 weeks. The first 2 hours of the next class, I'll be solving an exercise that I'm going to provide you today, okay? And we may have some additional things, but it will be all about the midterm. It's all about getting you ready for the midterm, okay? So under week 7, if you look, there is this PDF called Exercise Patient System, okay? If you open that, it has an exercise that I'm asking you to get it done by the beginning of next class in 2 weeks. This is exercise that, in a way, it's very much in line with the midterm. So if you get through this exercise, I will be going through it in the first half of our next class, which is midterm, and then in the second half is the midterm. So again, first half, I'm going through this exercise. Ideally, you should come to next class with this one done already. That's our bonus number 8. You will do this exercise. You're going to write 3 questions. You're going to upload as you usually do. There's no video attached to this one. It's just exercise. It's asking you to create this patient registration. I see here 3 views. One is the home, which has a link to a patient list and a link to a registration of new patients, okay? The registration form will collect the following information: patient name, the age, the address, occupation, has insurance is a checkbox, okay? Has had previous operation, checkbox as well, and then marital status, married, single, divorced, widow, this is a drop-down, okay? Use this one as a drop-down. Here is how it could potentially look like. Again, nothing fancy, just a regular form with save and cancel at the end. Again, we are collecting the information here. And when we save this not to the database, okay, but just to a repository in memory. Okay, very similar to part invites, to the first, to the beginning of the sports store. So again, just in memory, this one. Okay, what else? Again, there is a bonus 8 folder. See here, create a repository to store the registered patients. There is also, it's asking for to include the date and time of registration. You don't need to ask that. You just create that as a property of your patient. Okay. Make sure that you have an image, at least so I know that, well, not for the exercise, but for the midterm, that you know how to add an image, very similar to what you did are doing for assignment 2. If you have any questions about, okay, how do I collect the checkbox here? How do I collect this? Well, you have 2 weeks to figure it out. You have to give it a try, and then I will walk you through as we come back from reading week, okay? If from now until then you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to address them. But this is bonus 8. Again, this is listed here under table of contents, week 7. So, see, patient exercise, formulate 3 questions, upload to Centennial as bonus 8, and deadline is Friday, November 1st, 6:30. Yeah. Any questions about midterm? Anything that you want clarification? I'm already saying that, yes.
Is there only lab test?
Midterm is only lab. It's only this project, and you upload and you're done. Okay?
No written test.
No written test, yeah. And the final test is a multiple choice, but there are 2 open-ended questions that you're gonna do a little bit of coding there, but nothing too much. Okay?
So we could do this and we should be good for the midterm?
Yes, you should.
So, is there assignment? Is there exercise a part of the midterm task?
Is the exercise part of the midterm? No, it's not. I'm just giving the exercise for you to practice, because in a way it's in line, it's similar to the midterm, but it's not worth point. Well, it's worth the bonus mark of 1 point, 1 extra point. Okay, if you upload the questions. Had a question?
It's open book, right?
Yes, it's open book, open web, open site, open Visual Studio, open whatever. It's not open friend. It's not open friend. It's not open neighbor. But the rest of it, it's all open. Okay? Yes.
Can you repeat that thing you said there'd be one multiple choice area?
Multiple choice is for the final one, for the final test. Which one? The final. Yes. Yes, it will be both of them. Both of them are in class. Okay? But I can tell you, use this exercise well. Train that. Come ready with your questions. Don't come and do the exercise here. Okay? Come ready already. And then come with your questions, because, again.
In other words, we have 2 assignments for that class.
For the same day?
No, what I mean, for that Friday,
Oh, that Friday?
we have this one.
Yep. And another one?
We have the other one.
Oh, the assignment day. Yeah, but at least the assignment was 4 weeks this time. You had 4 weeks. Okay? Anything else? Okay. Okay. So let's keep moving forward here. Okay, we did this. View components. Okay, let's get a little bit more hands-on again. View components, as you're going to see, it's a little bit more involving, a little bit more complicated than partial views, but it's not that much. View components, in a way, it's very similar to a controller and views. A little bit simpler than that, but again, similar. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to download Sports Store up to Chapter 9, Part 2. This is the beginning of Chapter 9. Then you're going to go through the video for Part 3 and Part 4. And you're going to apply to this. These 2 videos, they will walk you through how to create a view components. Now, let me show you the end result here. Okay, let me see. So in the end, in the beginning, you're going to start without these links, In the end, you're going to build those links. You're going to build a navigation so you can navigate through different categories of products, okay? So that's the end result. The end result is just this. This part here becomes your view component. This is a component that is created by using a view component. And videos part 3 and part 4 will walk you through that. One quick note is that on part 4, around this minute here, 1 minute and 8 seconds, I ask you to create a Razor page. It should be a Razor view, not a Razor page, okay? So you just keep that in mind. This is a mistake. It should be a Razor view. But get started. You know where to find the code. You know where to find the videos. The PowerPoint is in a PDF format, so you can click on them, and they are active links. So let's get going. This is, again, a little bit more involved, as you can see here. You need about 12 minutes just to go through the whole thing. But as you're going to be pausing and going, I'll give you at least double of that so you can get it done. And I'll be walking around. I'll be assisting if you get stuck. After that, I will walk you through the code step by step, and I will explain as I go along, okay? But I want you to first do it so it can be fresh in your mind. And again, what I'll be showing will make more sense. Yep. What's that?
Put it in this here. Chapter 9 activities. I already did this one.
Yeah, but yeah, no, actually, you did. You did that. You went through up to part 4.
Yeah, my original sports.
Yep, yep. If the information is still fresh there, that's fine. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Again, you have gone through this already, hopefully up to the end of it. But If it's not fresh in your head there, go through the exercise and get it done, because then I will reinforce with the content that I'll be going through today here. here. It's okay. Listen. Did you see my note? Did you see my mail?
No.
No.
Did you put now?
I sent an email to you.
No. I'll see.
So have a look and let me know, okay?
Okay.
So,
Hmm?
with this exercise and for the midterm, we shouldn't use Bootstrap at all. We should just be in our own CSS.
You can still use Bootstrap, but use your own as well. Just so you can show me that you know how to use it. You know how to use you know how to add your own CSS in case you need. But you can use Bootstrap to make it if you want to make it easier. But again, use your own. Use a little bit of your own because with Bootstrap, you should not open Bootstrap and change it there. So by showing me that you know how to use your own as well on top of Bootstrap, well, you show me that you know how to use it. Okay? Oh, I thought you were just stretching.
Oh no. I was wondering how come these aren't like changing color. Like, it's not like that. Does it matter?
Oh, which one is not change color?
Like the class and the, it should be blue and the same as yours, right?
Class is okay. To be honest, the most important thing here is really this. You see, they change the colors. See, ASP
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
So it should be okay. I don't know. Maybe I have a different configuration in this computer. So
I don't know because
did you try to run it already?
no, I haven't actually. Oh,
Yep. It's showing. It's showing properly.
okay,
Yeah. It's okay.
okay, okay.
Again, the most important one really is this one. If this one does not turn into
Purple.
bold and
Yeah,
purple,
yeah.
then that's problematic. But the rest, it's okay. It might
Okay.
be that my Visual Studio has a different configuration there.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Yep. It is. It is. Yes, it is. That's okay. Mm-hmm.
Just wait till you explain it.
Okay. Okay, so if you had not had the chance to finish it completely, that's fine. I'll walk you through and I'll explain that here. Before I get to the code demonstration, just want to highlight a few things about view components. View component, very similar to partial views, but they are way more powerful, okay? And you're gonna see why is that. Pay attention to what we're gonna be discussing here with this example because it will be useful for your assignment 2 as well. Not that we are using view component on assignment 2, we are not, but there are a few things here that we're gonna be discussing that will help you to create the link to view the recipe details, okay? You're gonna see that in a second. So, some of the features of the view components. First one here is very similar to a partial view. It renders a chunk of HTML, of markup, rather than the whole response. Again, it doesn't render the entire view. It's just a piece, a component, I don't like the term control anymore, but it's like a control, okay? It includes separation of concerns, benefits found between controller and view. I heard someone gave a very good comparison with view components and a traditional, and a controller and a view. It's very similar. You're gonna see when I start demonstrating the demonstration, you're gonna see that it's very, very similar to what you do with a controller and a view. You can pass parameters and business logic as well when you are using a view controller. And usually, typically, you invoke a view controller inside a layout page. A layout view. But it doesn't have to. It's not a must. It's just typically. Okay? Those are some of the features that you usually use a view component for. And usually those features, they are more elaborated. They have more logic behind of them. Like dynamic navigation menus. This is what you have done or you started doing for the navigation menu of the sports store. We have soccer, chess, water sports. This is a dynamic menu that you have there, okay? Tag clouds, who knows what is a tag cloud?
The cloud with the most used or searched words.
Yep, so it's very common to see that in blogs. Blogs, they have posts with different categories. So you have a tag cloud that shows the different categories. And the bigger the name is in a tag cloud, the more posts you have for that category. Okay, so that's a tag cloud. So again, all of them are more complex applications, complex parts of a system that, for instance, a login panel that you have a username and password. That can be placed in different pages, in different views throughout your application. Shopping cart as well. We saw that also in the sports store we have our shopping cart being part of a view component too. And again, some other examples here. So those are just examples, general examples of when you would use a view component. Okay? Again, just general ones. So let me walk you through. Let's go through the code here and see how this come about. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a new folder called components. That is a standard, okay? So you're going to right click in the project, add new folder, components. Here we have. And then now this is necessary. Differently from a partial view, you don't have any rules for the name of the partial view. For the view component, we do have. It has to end in view components. Again, similar to what we have with controllers. Controller, it has to be a name followed by the keyword controller. In our view component, we have a name followed by the keyword view component. So in our case, we are creating a class, just a regular class under components called menu navigation. Is that it?
Navigation menu.
Oh, sorry, navigation menu. Navigation menu, and then view component. Okay? Regular class. Now, this class has to inherit from whom? What did you put there in your code? View components. Now, it's given an error because we don't have the namespace yet. So let's, if I'm able to select this, which I'm not, that's fine. Using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC, and then we should have it. Yep. Okay, great. Now let's start with a simple example here. Let's just start with a simple string. This will output a string out of it. So we have to implement a method called invoke. That's a must as well. It has to be called invoke. Let's just call it, make it the type of string, and I'm going to call it invoke. And we're just going to say return. This is the menu. Again, just a string, just to demonstrate how we can call that. So for now, let's stop here, our view components. Now, here is where I start to draw parallels between view components and a controller. They are similar, of course, different but similar. Controller as well, we have views returning from them. Here we also have this invoke. It has to have this specific name. Now I'm going to call this class. I'm going to call this view component from my layout. So I'm going to go to the layout of my application under shared underscore layout. And here, where it says put something useful here, we're going to call our navigation menu. So far, we did not create any views. We just created the navigation menu control class. So from here, we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to say at. Now, let's go straight away to the non-blocking, to the more efficient approach here. Let's go with await, then component dot invoke async, and then we pass it over the name of our view component, which is navigation menu. No need to put view component here. MVC does that for you, so just navigation menu. And we save this, and we give it a try. Let's see. So here's the message. Now, this is not that useful, but it's already working. We have a view component, but we are missing the actual view part of that view component, okay? Because we are just returning this simple string. Now, let's enhance this and let's make this return an I view component result. This is the equivalent. View component result is the equivalent of, in our controller, we have a view result. So controller, we have a view result. View component, we have view component result or I view result. Okay? Now, I can no longer return a string. I have to return yet another similarity here. I have to return a view. Okay? Pretty much same syntax here. Now, if I do this and I try to run, let's see. It's going to complain that I didn't create the view yet, the view that I'm calling. So it says here, see, it's expecting a default.cs HTML under one of those folders. We're going to be using this folder here. So we're going to create a folder under, let's see here. So we did that, we did a class, we did the string, we called this one, we changed that. Let's just create another shared component. So, okay, so under views shared, we're going to create another folder called components. And then under components, we're going to create a folder with the same name as our view components without the name view components. So I'm just going to call it navigation menu. So I'm going to go there, under components, create a new folder, call it navigation menu. And finally, under navigation, so you have to follow this specific, order here. Under navigation menu, I'm just going to create a regular view. I could do with this one here. I could go with new item. I would rather go with new item. I think it's safer. And here, yet another standard. We have to call it default. Default.cshtml. It has to have this particular name, default. Set that. Let's get rid of everything that is there. And let's see here. So we should be able to, this is our menu. Should be able to run this because now we have our view, our component, our view component view. And here we have, this is our menu. It's coming straight from this view called default.cs.html. But it's not dynamic yet. So we have to add some logic here in our navigation menu view component to load the categories of products. Okay? Now, let's think about this. Looking at this, at our same old diagram, we need some data here. So we need to have our view components, which is similar to a controller. We need to make it connect to our model. What do we use to make that connection? What do you call to make that connection? The connection to get to some data. In the model, but which aspect specifically about the model? Which class do we have to create an object from? a repository. So we have to get a hold of the repository. Repository is what gives us data. It gives data, and it allows us to send data to the database as well. So let's make the connection. We can open product controller and just use that as our basis. See, product controller has an iProduct repository. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do that as well for my view component. Now, it's complaining about the namespace, so I'm going to add the namespace here. That's fine. Now, here's the question. iProduct repository is just an interface. Let's go back a little bit to our repository discussion that we had before. So iRepository is just an interface. It's not the concrete repository. How do I initialize this repository? Let's have a look at the product controller. How is it done here in passing by the constructor? So we're going to have to create a constructor as well. So we're going to go and we're going to say public, and then here's the name of our class. Parameter will be an iProduct repository that we're going to call this repo. And I have now to assign repository to this repo here. So I can just do repository equals to repo. Now, here's the question. Let me expand here our models. See, we only have reference to our repository here. How come this repo becomes an entity framework repository? How does it become that? Let's see, in a Friday night, almost 10 o'clock, who can remember, the hero that can remember this kind of stuff? Go ahead. Again, we are just declaring iProduct repository here. This repo has to become somehow this entity framework is EF product repository, not the fake one. So where is that?
The startup transient?
The transient. The transient is the one that does the mapping, that says, whenever you need an iProduct repository, give an EF product repository. Let's open our startup. See this line here. See, it says, it's like a map, a table in the MVC memory, application memory. So whenever you ask for an iProduct repository, give an entity framework product repository. Where exactly? In the constructors. So whenever a navigation menu view component gets created, who creates that? MVC. In MVC, we trust. Okay? So we don't see that, but MVC is the one creating that. So MVC knows that, oh, it's expecting an iProduct repository. Do I have a map from my product repository to something concrete? Oh, yes, we have. It's an entity framework product repository. So it gives an entity framework product repository here. We assign to repository, and now we have access to the data from repository. Okay? So all of a sudden, our view component, which is very similar to a controller, has access to data via the repository. Okay? Now, let's unpack how we're going to get to the categories. So, I'm just running comparison here with the product controller. See, in the product controller, we call the view, and we pass along data. So we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna say repository dot what? Products. We only have products that as a collection, but our view is expecting a collection of what? Of strings. What do they mean? What is this collection? It's the categories. Okay. Actually, let me show you. Let's go to the database here quickly. SQL Server Object Explorer. Let's explore here the table, the products table. I'm going to right-click in the products table. I'm going to go to View Data. You see here, we have the category column. So I'm only interested in this category column. I don't care about the navigation menu view component. It doesn't care about the other stuff. It only cares about give me the categories. Okay, but I have to start with products because it's the collection that gives me the categories. Now what? I have to get only the categories. I'm only interested in the categories property. So which method am I going to use here? Let's use select. So select is not for filtering, okay? Select is just, I'm just saying, hey, give me all of the, which fields, which properties do I want? So I'm going to say select, and I'm just going to say P goes to, or such as P.categories, category. So this will return the list of categories. If I run like this, what is this return to me?
10, I think.
All the categories. Now, we have some duplication here. Okay? So we don't want to show duplicated categories there. I know that there are 4 products that are chess related, 3 soccer, and 2 water sports. But I don't want duplication here. I don't want duplication in my navigation. So can you see that our navigation menu it's a bit involving. There is logic behind it. That's why we need it to be a view component, not a partial view. Okay? Now we're going to have to use which method? Distinct. So again, very, very similar to traditional SQL Server. Distinct will eliminate duplication for us. And then we don't want we want the list to be ordered alphabetically. So we can specify that by using the order by. And here is where the syntax sometimes becomes a bit confusing. But I'm just going to say C, such as C. Okay, so let me ask you this. At this point, what is C? What is the type of C? It's in what is category?
String?
A string. So C is just a string. And I'm just saying that order by this function, because in the end, this is an anonymous method that returns a string. So it's just saying that, okay, base your order on the actual strings and order that alphabetically. The thing is that you could change this if you wanted to make another rule here. Again, I don't want to overcomplicate, but sometimes I find it hard to get a good grasp of what is this saying. Well, it's just saying that order by this output here. What is this? This is just a string. So order the strings alphabetically. That's what this is doing.
So it could be ordered by like string rank or
We can.
Okay, so
That's a good point. We could say something like length. Set like this, yeah. Actually, it's a property. We could. And then what we are doing here, we're saying order by the size of the string. Actually, that's a good way to put it. Okay. Okay, so we have our data. Now we have to go back to our view, which has nothing right now. And we have to, first of all, we have to set what is the model of this view. So we're going to say at model. We are dealing with collections. We are dealing with views. So we could use a list here, but we're going to be opting to use the more I would say flexible one. We can use an enumerable here, and we can say string. So now we have a collection of strings that we have to loop through for each what? For each var or each string. I'm going to call those are categories. So category in what? In your model, in our model here. Our model is a collection. I'm going to loop through that, and I'm going to do something here. Now, what is it I'm going to do? I'm going to go with, I'm going to build a link. I'm going to go with an A, and I'm just going to output category. Okay. Now, we have to build the properties of our link. So we're going to be using our tag helper to help us out here. So I'm going to start with ASP-controller. Controller here is product. There is just one, so product controller. Then we have ASP-action. Which action are we using here to filter this? So let's go to our controller. So you see, list, it has category parameter, it has product page parameter. So you're going to be using that. You're going to be using list here. So list is our action. And then this is what I would like you to pay attention, because you're going to be using this in your assignment. ASP-route. Route is a way that you can access the parameters of this action. Which parameter do we have there? We have category. So I'm going to say ASP-route-category. Category for inside this loop, well, it's the actual category here. So I'm going to just say this. Now, we have a second parameter as well, which is product page. So you're going to say ASP-route-product page. And whenever I click in one of the categories there, I'm going to go to page number 1 of that category, the initial page of that category. So 1 here. And we should be able to run this. Let's give it a try. Let's see if there's anything there. Okay. Okay, so we have the links here. See, and they actually work. But it's not formatted properly. It's not pretty here. So let's enhance this. Yep.
So is it just good practice to always make sure that you route it to the first page, because we have it defaulted to the first page in the control. So would it just be good practice to always have that route to the first page, even if it's defaulted, just in case?
Okay, so here, to be quite honest, I don't know if we don't put this here, if it would assume that it's product. We can try, but
page 1.
Page 1 here.
Yeah.
Yes. No, we should definitely put page 1 because if by any chance you are paging through the other pages on let's say you are in the general category and you are on page 2, if I'm not mistaken, this will pick up page 2 automatically. So we should put this, yeah, something like that. So if you don't put this 1 here, there are things that get a little bit screwed up in the navigation as you try that, you know.
Because I know in controller we had it defaulted to 1 if you don't.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, okay.
So now let's just add here the this. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit of styling here. Okay, so I just put some style on it, and before I run it again, let's put the home link as well. Again, home link, very similar link style, but route category becomes empty, and actually we can also put the number here. We can, but in this case here, because this is this one here, yeah, I think that because category is empty, depending on the routing rules with an empty category. Let me see here what may end up happening. Yeah, it used this one. Yeah, I'm not sure why this is not required for this particular item here. Whether you add page 1 here or not, this will work. So, what is that?
So page number is default value is 1.
You mean the default one?
Yeah, it's the one lower in startup, because it would be empty, right?
You mean this one here?
Yeah, wouldn't it be the lower one? I'm in the startup file. Wouldn't that instead go to the lower one? We don't have.
Okay, so let me. Okay, so let's go there to the startup. What is the point again?
These two methods, parameter, second parameter is
There's a default. Yeah. So for this one here, for this one, it's not required to put 1, but let me show you this because I've tried this before. And to be quite honest, I don't know exactly why. You see, I got rid of the 1 from the one inside the loop. So you're gonna see some strange things here. Again, I didn't stop to try to figure out why this is happening like this, but look at this. So now it's all fine. You see, the links, if you see at the bottom, I cannot see that well. See, all links are fine. But then when you start to navigate, you're going to see some strange things. You see there? That's okay for this, it's okay for this, but then this one here becomes a little funky. So again, I know that this is a result of us removing this one from here. When we get it back, all gets back. Again, you see? Nice and the way we expected. Again, I don't really know why. I know it's related to the rules that are here, but I don't know exactly why it's messing that up. I just know that it does that. So anyway, in our case, in our recipe list, you have to make sure that you create a link like this. You are inside of the loop to print the recipes. Then you have to create a link that goes to the view details. So your controller will most likely be, I think there's just home controller there. So home, your action will be view details. And then you're going to have something like this, ASP-routes, whatever is the parameter name. Let's say if you have a recipe ID or just an ID. So this will be the, let's say, recipe ID, and then equals to the ID of the recipe in the loop. So that's how we're going to be able to view a specific recipe. The details of, now, there's just one parameter there, which is the recipe ID. You don't need paging, so it's simpler than this one. But that's how you're gonna sort it out. You're gonna figure out how to click and view just one single recipe in your assignments. Okay? So take note of this approach here. You're gonna be using something very similar to that. Okay? Okay. And that's it. That's about it. Let's see here. What else we have? Okay. So we did this. We invoked. We call it. We connect to the repository. We did that. And see another. Another easy peasy aspect of MVC. Okay, partial views and view components, they will not be in the midterm. They will not be, you're going to be using that for assignments, but not for midterm, okay? Okay, questions? Who's tired? Okay. Additional resources. Those are working links in your PDF. You have more information about partial views from Microsoft, more information about view components. Those are good links to have as a reference point if you want to get more details. Before, summary, that's it. Yeah, we have discussed that already. Before I let you guys go, let's do this. Let's take 5 minutes, because here's the thing. By the time that you are right here, just walking that door, this will be all gone from your heads. So take 5 minutes, just write down. You don't have to upload. This is just for your own use. Write down a few notes about what you got out of today, about partial view and about view components. Just take 5 minutes to write that down. And let's take another 5 to, yeah, sure. Yes.
What's the content that we should prepare? Like if we should prepare for the midterm, what particular content is a good idea? Like for example, chapters.
Can anyone help me? I think that.
You left for the bathroom when you talked about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's why.
That's okay. There's an exercise that has been posted, and it's called exercise patient system. Do this one here. From now until next, this is the bonus 8. So from now until next class, and then I will be walking you through that one. This is a good reference for the midterm. Okay, that's a good reference. So again, make sure that you take care of that. In the midterm day, first half of the class will be working on this. I'll be walking you through. The second half will be the midterm.
Oh, okay. So the actual midterm is not theory like writing?
No, it's a project. Yeah, it's very in line with this one here.
Okay.
Okay? If you go through it, if you have questions from now until next class, you can send me an email. Okay?
Is there any need to go through the textbook and read a particular chapter, or is it not so much? We just have to be up to date?
I would say well, first of all, is that we are not including every single thing in the midterm. Midterm has no database, which is, I would hope, a big help. So you're going to see this exercise here. It's basically within the first 3 classes of the semester. You should be able to handle that exercise over there, okay? Anything else? All good? Yeah, go through it. If questions come up, let me know.
One other question. Oh, sorry, Steve. Will the midterm content, it will probably go beyond the content of assignment 1.
Beyond assignment 1. Yeah, it will. Because assignment 1, it was static. It was static content. So actually, midterm is very in line as well with assignment 2. You're going to see this exercise. We have a form. We submit data. We store the data in a temporary storage, in a temporary repository in memory. So there's no database, but there's memory, storage here, okay? Okay, so again, let's take just 5 minutes. Jot down your notes there. And yes, you had a question.
I guess, I know you mentioned that we should be able to just have our own CSS
Yep.
for it, but is there a degree of how good we should try to make it look? Or how
If you put one class, if we want to put one definition there, that's enough. I just want to make sure that you know how to create your own CSS, even if it has just one definition there. If one class there, just one class definition, that's okay. Because I just want to make sure that you know, oh, you should put the CSS in the CSS folder under the www roots, and because it's using a layout, you're going to be using the CSS in your layout. Just want to make sure that you have the elements in place, not how it will look like. Like, are you using the right tones of reds? No. Yes. Okay. If you want to share your notes, your thoughts with your neighbor there, so you can show your notes to him or her, he or her can, he or she can do the same thing with you, just to exchange some notes and complement each other. Feel free. Let's give another 5 minutes here, just to share notes. Again, someone may pick up something that you have not. So let's do that. Let's hear some buzzing. Not snoring yet, buzzing.
Do you have screenshots from the video?
Yeah, I think it's better for. I didn't see this.
I mean, I was like, most of the entire before I heard of it, but I'm kind of all over the place with mine. So it's on Swedish or Polish. It's a proper name that you call me by, but the name can be anything you want. Generally speaking, you're able to put it inside for each. Like this is outdated. Free template. So here's the newer one. Here's the weights. I've been calling it furnishing. It's kind of like you have a picture, and this point of view, you take a, you have another corner from another photo, but you always use that corner. You can only do simple. Like you can only do simple, partial, you can only do simple. I mean, you could put a lot of code into it, but you can understand that might be the partial for the partial.
Okay, let's just wrap things up. Anyone wants to share your views about partial views?
Layout is the base structure. It has common elements that are layout files.
Mm-hmm.
And the data populated on the project is totally necessary to make work the partial view.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. So again, partial view, it's not smart enough to get data that it needs. You need to provide it with data from somewhere else. Okay, that's a good point. Anybody else with views about partial views, view components? Anyone else? Anything about view components?
The location of the folder
It's important.
a must, and the standard for the names of the files is a must.
Yeah. And what is the standard for the file name?
Default.
The file name, yeah, the file name for the view, for the view component is default.cshtml, correct? And the name of the class, again, just throwing out there for everybody, the name of the class for the view component, it has to end in what? As view component. Okay, so like menu, navigation menu, or navigation menu, view components. Okay, so again, one is simple, one is a little bit more complex, but that's about it. We might be seeing them again later on in the course. Have a good reading week. If you have any questions about the exercise, about the assignment, or about the midterm, let me know. I'll be checking my emails. But yeah, take care. Have a good weekend. Have a good reading week. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Come ready. Come ready with the exercise, okay? Thank you.
Do you record your sessions by any chance?
This?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where do I go if I want to if I want to look for sessions?
Yeah, it's all here. So if you go to general, the playlist,
Okay.
all here.
All
Okay?
right. Thank you so much.
No problem. And this one will be there most likely by Monday maximum. Okay? Anything?
Yeah, so for the test, you have told us to do just for the reference, that it will be like that. Just a quick question that just in case we want to review the weeks that will be covered in test, so what weeks will be covered? Like till week 3 is it, or week 4 as well?
Let me have a look at here. What?
Will we be covering partial view and view component in that, or
No, they won't be there.
but database?
No, not database.
Okay.
Not the database either. So I would say that, let me see, week 5 here, missing development. I would say up to week 5,
Okay.
but without database. Actually, no, even some routing might be there as well, but very basic. I mean, we're not just going to be using the basic routing. We're not going to be using those complex routing rules, and no database. So again, really, the exercise will guide you, will help you on that.
Okay, and for the bonus 7, do we need to submit the code as well?
Bonus
or just
8.
Yeah, bonus 8. Just the code, or like the question?
Actually, just the questions. Yeah, no need to submit codes.
And if we got everything from the code and didn't have any questions, so can we submit the code?
Well, even if you don't have any questions, but you may have a topic that you'd like to get to know a little bit more, or would like to review, so just mention that. Okay?
Sorry.
Good one.